powered by Riverside FM.
Welcome to another edition of Unconventional Playbook. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Man, the Minnesota Vikings season, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a safe place tonight. Because if you have a podcast and you're talking about the Minnesota Vikings, usually you fall on one of either side. You know, one, you're pro Vikings, you're trying to pump the team up. You're trying to look on the brighter side of things all the time. You're trying to look at some positivity. You talk about when players are playing good, or you fall in on the other side of the fence, man. You fall in on the other side of the fence where you just look at all the negative stuff and you criticize and you critique, and people think you're too hard on the team. And there are a few people that fall in the middle that gives you the balance of critiques and gives you a balance of some of the things that the team does good. Well, I'm here to tell you tonight. That this is a safe place. All are welcome. All are welcome in terms of being a Minnesota Vikings fan, podcaster, what have you. All are welcome on Unconventional Playbook tonight, or I should say Unconventional Playbook tonight, because this is a place where you can look on the positive side of things and put it in the comments, or this is a place where you can look on the negative side of things or put it in the comments, or if you're someone that's just in between, man, because this season is absolutely crazy. Watching the Minnesota Vikings, you're going to need therapy, man. You're going to need therapy. This is the craziest season that I have ever been a part of when it comes to the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are sitting here 9-2, just coming off a 3-game road trip, being successful on the 3-game road trip, finding a way to dispatch the Bears, control the game, then not control the game, have the game going to overtime, lose the coin toss, find a way to get stops, and our backup kicker, who we brought off the streets a couple of years ago, slams home the winning field goal. And by the way, the cherry on top of the sundae, Justin Jefferson catches 2 passes for 27 yards. Is this crazy? Is this crazy? Like, this is the craziest year. And this is a place where, hey, we're not going to judge you here. You can come and vent all you want, because there are parts of this team, man, that I'm just tired of, and there are parts of this team that I just love. Man, let me give the Vikings their kudos first of all. Let's just get this out of the way in terms of where they are. The Minnesota Vikings are not, no matter what you say about Sam Darnold, KOC, Kwesi's draft picks, no matter what you say, Sam Darnold, Aaron Jones fumbling, no matter what you say, the Minnesota Vikings have found a way to be 9-2. Let's give them a round of applause. It's unbelievable. We use this vernacular all the time. If you would have told me that at the beginning of the season, the Minnesota Vikings would be 9-2, I would take it, of course. But it's the craziest 9-2 ever. Sometimes you feel really good about the 9-2 and some of the wins. And sometimes when you win, you don't feel so good. And so this is like one of these things today, UP Nation. Well, I don't know whether you should feel good about it, bad about it. I don't know. But this is just one of these type seasons. Like, when we win, we're not too happy about it. Like, I see a lot of people throwing shade on Sam Darnold. Let's start with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold threw for 330 yards today. With Cam Robinson going out hurt, Quisenberry came in and backed up and did a pretty decent job. But Cam Robinson goes out and he throws for 22 for 34, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, and was trying to force things in to Justin Jefferson all day long. Man, there were times during that game when Sam Darnold didn't look good. And let me say, I'm glad that Sam Darnold is our bridge quarterback. I think he's doing an adamant job with the title bridge quarterback. No one expected him to be elite. At least I didn't expect him to be elite, but the guy is making plays when he needs to make plays, and when he doesn't really need to make plays, he doesn't make plays. He holds on to the ball for too long. Man, the thing with the Minnesota Vikings around all the duckies and bunnies and roses in terms of being 9-2, man, I see a little bit of frustration in Justin Jefferson, man. And I'm telling you, Justin Jefferson is a class act. He's a class individual. But I'm telling you guys, I know these diva wide receivers. He's got his paycheck now. He's got his contract. And as long as the Minnesota Vikings keep winning, Justin Jefferson is going to toe the line. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that Justin Jefferson is happy with what's going on. There have been other great wide receivers in the league. Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Chris Carter. I can go on and on and on. Jamar Chase. What are other teams doing to Justin Jefferson that's so good that they can't find ways to get him into the end zone and get him numbers when other good wide receivers are facing the same teams and facing the same defensive philosophies? What is it going on? Is it a KOC thing? Is it a Sam Darnold thing? I'm just bringing it up on a winning game day just because I saw the frustration, and I told you a couple of pods ago, it's not going to last long. It is going to get old, and JJ is not going to stand for it. Will the Minnesota Vikings ever have a complete game? KOC has been talking about it every game since he's been here. We've yet to play a complete game. He's been talking about it for 3 years. When are you going to play a complete game? And it drives me absolutely nuts. I shave all my hair off so you guys won't have to see my grays. Because this team, if I had hair, would have me pulling my hair out. And if I wasn't bald, you would see all the grays, because this team every week seems to be a new adventure. And the guy that was crying free three, they've found some magical way to get him the football. Jordan Addison, 8 receptions, 162 yards, 1 touchdown. What do you think about this guy? Guys, this is crazy. What do you think about it? Put it in the comments. Let's talk. All are welcome tonight. Naysayers, positive Minnesota Vikings fans, truth seekers. What the heck is going on with the Minnesota Vikings? You need therapy tonight. This team makes you need football therapy. You really do. B-Flo defense, dominant defense. This is not throwing any shade on B-Flo. B-Flo's defense has been carrying this football team all season long. They face a rookie quarterback. Man, the ingredients for a Minnesota Vikings barbecue is right there. A rookie quarterback struggling, new offensive coordinator, the disguises of B-Flo's defense, guys dropping in and out, blitzing from all angles against a quarterback who's cutting his teeth, who really hasn't been there before. Caleb Williams goes for 340, 2 touchdowns, 32 for 47 passing. Who would have believed that before the start of the Bears game? Who would have believed it? This season is absolutely crazy. And even though the Minnesota Vikings defense has been dominant for the majority of the year, are you still frustrated, fans? Are you still frustrated that every now and then the defense just kind of goes AWOL? Especially against A rookie quarterback, man, Caleb Williams was running around there like Michael Vick, completing passes down the field. It was absolutely unbelievable. It was absolutely unbelievable. You could probably argue that this is the best showing that Caleb Williams has had pretty much all year. They just came up a little bit short. And again, this is not throwing shade. I'm just talking about what happened. This is not throwing shade at B-Flo and the Minnesota Vikings defense. Hell, they've been carrying us all year long. This is just telling what happened. The kid threw for 340, 2 touchdowns against a staunch Minnesota Vikings defense. And the Bears really didn't have any running game. Caleb Williams was also their leading rusher today. How about that? How about throwing that cherry on top of the sun? Man, the Minnesota Vikings, you just can't, you just don't know what you're going to see from Sunday to Sunday with the Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Jones breaks the century mark for the Minnesota Vikings, running for 106 yards, 22 carries, one of his best outings in a Minnesota Vikings uniform. Man, this is crazy. And for me as a fan, I am, I am content with this is just the way it's gonna be. I mean, the formula has kind of been the same. We really can't pull away from anybody. Leads are just never really safe from time to time. We give up those leads. There are times, yes, in the past where we've slammed the door, but you can't really relax. You can't with this team. You just can't really relax. This team is yet to play a complete game under KOC, man. I'm talking about from start to finish, even the Cleveland Browns in the time span that KOC has been here for the 3 years have played complete games where they have just taken teams to task. Like, this is absolutely, like, today I just thought, man, this was finally going to be a game where we're just going to extend this thing in the second half, in the fourth quarter. The stat of the day, did you hear the stat of the day? That it had been umpteen years before the Minnesota Vikings had scored a rushing touchdown in the second half. Man, when you hear these stats, it just blows you away when you have a team that's so talented, man. Why is the offense struggling at times? It's just perplexing. We're 9-2. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. I'm happy we got the win. I'm going to take 9-2 every day and even twice on Sunday. I'm going to take the 9-2. But are you starting? Is it enough? Is it enough, Viking fans? Are you starting to wonder, man, what's going on with the team? I thought when TJ Hawkinson came back, all of these false narratives. When TJ Hawkinson came back, that was going to be the magical thing that was going to ignite the Minnesota Vikings offense. Do you feel like the Minnesota Vikings offense is igniting with TJ Hawkinson back? TJ Hawkinson, let me tell you, man, he made some big catches today. But in terms of him being back, has he solved all of our offensive problems is what I'm talking about. I'm not saying TJ Hawkinson is not playing well because he's coming off of ACL and he's playing well. But people were trying to shove down our throats and create a narrative that when we get this piece back, when we get the piece back of TJ Hawkinson, it was going to solve all of the Minnesota Vikings offensive problems. So my question to you, put it in the comments, is all of our offensive problems solved with TJ Hawkinson back? I mean, you got TJ Hawkinson, you got Justin Jefferson, you got Jordan Addison, you even got Oliver, and you got Aaron Jones. And there are times where the offense just goes south. Is that a KOC problem or is that a Sam Darnold problem? I don't know. But I'm telling you, I am going to tell you, UP Nation, that they've got to solve these offensive problems. They got to do it. They've got to do it. They've got to solve these problems. These one-score games or these one-possession games that they always play in, that they like to play in, is going to cause them some problems down the road and really, really important football games. The Minnesota Vikings have got to get this together. And there's a lot of great pieces. The molding of clay and the ingredients that they have to be a really good football team is right there. But man, there is just something missing with this team. Now, the one thing that I will say is that they're resilient, and this team has found a way to win. It is no cheap task that the Minnesota Vikings have won 3 road games in the NFL. No matter who you play, that's hard to do. They've been getting on a plane, going elsewhere to get the job done, and they have gotten it done. And now they get to come back home and play the Arizona Cardinals, which is another team that they could beat. And then it got Kirk Cousins coming in here the following Sunday. Now, this thing is setting up, if you haven't looked at the schedule, this thing is setting up for a showdown. Those last 2 games with the Packers and the Lions, because the Packers keep getting every break in the book. Brock Purdy didn't play today, so you knew that was going to be a blowout. You knew the Pack. You can always count on the Pack to take care of business against teams that they should take care of business for. You can count on that. Brock Purdy being out, you thought they were going to stub their toe and fumble? Nope. They took care of business. And the Detroit Lions, no let up. Dan Campbell, he's not letting that team let up. They just keep on winning. The Minnesota Vikings just keep on winning. So it is heading for a showdown the last 3 weeks. Before we go into that showdown, the Minnesota Vikings have to start getting this stuff together. We got to start looking at this stuff from a critical eye. We've got to stop saying, hey, we're 9-2, we're 8-2. Man, the stuff that we do during games is unbelievable. To keep teams in it and let teams back in is unbelievable. But I will say, if I can critique that, I have to say that the Minnesota Vikings are a resilient bunch. These guys find a way to win games. It was no easy feat. Grenard with the big sack on Caleb Williams in overtime to put them in a situation where they couldn't get a first down. They had to punt. Minnesota Vikings drive the field after a sack, by the way. Sam Darnold making some key throws. One big throw down the field to TJ Hawkinson to get us in the field goal range. And then our backup kicker, who was on the streets a couple of weeks ago, comes in and bangs a kick. That is the definition of resiliency. What side of the fence do you fall on? Do you feel like this is a crazy season? Are you happy with the season? Listen, man, if you're unhappy with the season, don't be ashamed. This is a safe place. You can put your critiques in the comments on what you feel like is going on with the team. You're not going to be judged here just because we're 9-2. If you're someone that thinks the season is just rosy-posy and you like what you see, this is a safe place. You can put that in the comments as well. I just don't know what to think. I feel like I'm on a seesaw. I feel like remember the teeter-totters when you were a little kid? I feel like I'm on a teeter-totter. I feel like I'm up one week and down the next week. I don't even know what to expect. Is there anybody that honestly knows what to expect against the Arizona Cardinals next week? I mean, I know the defense won't play off, or will they play lights out? I don't know. Will they play, an average game? I don't know that either. I think it's a safe bet to say that they're not going to be awful. I think it's a safe bet to say that they won't be. I mean, they haven't shown a propensity to be awful in any game. They're either great to average, and they've been great the majority of the games this season, the Minnesota Vikings defense has. The offense, oh my God, it's like a Rubik's Cube from week to week. It just all depends on who's playing well what week. The offense really hasn't seemed to be able to put it together for 4 quarters. So my guess is against the Arizona Cardinals, they probably won't be able to put things together for 4 quarters. That game, you may have a great first quarter, second quarter, not so great, third quarter after halftime. They didn't make the necessary adjustments, and then they find a way to win in the fourth quarter. Man, it just drives your nerves haywire. It drives your nerves haywire. Minnesota Viking fans, man, this is a crazy year. It's a fortunate year because we could be sitting at 2-9. I think the majority of us, before the season started, really were looking towards 2025. We just wanted to be semi-competitive and probably give J.J. McCarthy, some run this year, and then he got hurt. I mean, look at all of the trials and tribulations that this football team has been through, and they stay steadfast, resilient. And I'm proud of them for that. It's just exhausting. It's just mentally, physically exhausting from Sunday to Sunday. You Minnesota Viking fans, UP Nation, you know what I'm talking about. Put your experience in the comments. Man, don't be quiet. This is not a time to be quiet. Don't have me out there on the cliff being the only one that's speaking on this, man. This is crazy. 9-2, and it's been utter craziness. Utter craziness, man. This one took the cake when you thought you had the game in hand, and Caleb Williams finds a way to drive down the field, gets 2, of course. You knew that was going to happen, and then they recovered an onside kick and kicked a field goal. That lead evaporated just like that. And because the Bears do what they do, we were fortunate enough to win the football game. Man, but what if that type of stuff happens in the playoffs with the Philadelphia Eagles, Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, you name it? You name it. Do we win those games when you have a quarterback on the other side of the aisle that can make plays, or a defense that can make plays? This was the Bears. These games are absolutely crazy, man. This is crazy. Let's help each other out, UP Nation, Viking fans. This is a therapy session right now. What's going on? What are your thoughts about what's going on? Does this hurt us down the stretch, or do we keep living vicariously through our record and keep saying we're 9-2, we're 10-2? Do we ignore the problems? Do we put blinders on? What do we do? Because I know there's a lot of shows and stuff that are based on, well, we're 9-2, you should be happy about it. Why are you being negative? What's up with the negativity? This is not negativity, man. If you could see me jump and click my heels together right now, you would know how happy I am that we're 9-2. I'm just a little bit worried. I'm just a little bit concerned. If you're not concerned, if you're a Minnesota Viking fans, about what is to come, put it in the comments and let me know why you're not concerned, because I'm concerned. And if you're on the other side of the fence, well, you're just super negative about this team, well, you're just going to be super negative anyway, because there's a lot of positive things to find out about the Minnesota Vikings, man. They're finding a way to win football games. They're just taking the fans through the mill right now. This is absolutely crazy. I tell you what, though, I love Sam Darnold. I love Sam Darnold to death. He is a great bridge quarterback, but I can't wait for J.J. McCarthy. I can't wait for J.J. McCarthy, because I think a lot of the things that I see, when I look at the All-22 and I look at quarterback perspective view of film shots, there are things that maybe a better quarterback would be able to throw. There are lanes that they would be able to throw if you had maybe a little bit better of a quarterback, a little bit more talent, and a little bit more of a confident quarterback. I think that takes away some of JJ's opportunities and some of his catches. And when you get that franchise, that is the difference between a Kirk Cousins, who is a good quarterback, and a Patrick Mahomes, who is a great quarterback. There are windows that close quick, and there are lanes where you just have to fit the ball in there. And if you don't have that talent or that mindset, it's going to affect you offensively. And it is my thought that that is probably a little bit of what is going on with the Minnesota Vikings offense. And I know J.J. McCarthy is going to be a rookie next year and he's got to cut his teeth, but I am banking on championship DNA. The kid has won a championship everywhere he's gone. So where next year may be his so-called physical rookie year, I am hoping and praying and wishing that he has that DNA. So years to come, the plays that we need to get made under these type of situations that we saw today and in previous week, J.J. McCarthy can make those plays. I just don't think Sam is that dude, but he's playing a lot better than what people give him credit for. But it's a struggle at times, man. Sometimes he is hard to watch. And of course, Cam Robinson, his left tackle, left the game. He couldn't stay healthy for the rest of the year. We gave up assets to bring him in, and it's not his fault, but this is the type of stuff that happens to the Minnesota Vikings. It's a crazy year, man. This is when this show became my brainchild, Unconventional Playbook, man, I wanted to take unconventional views at the Minnesota Vikings at their games. Like, I think everybody supports the Minnesota Vikings, but I don't want to give you the cookie cutter stuff after each recap. When we talk about the games and we provide analysis, myself and Patrick Buchanan, we want to give you a fan's perspective that's a real perspective where sometimes you may be upset, even if you win a football game. This is a safe place. We don't look at you as negativity. We want you to have a place where you can come and vent and at least some frustration from things that you saw on the TV screen that day. It's crazy. Minnesota Vikings 9-2. Arizona Cardinals coming in next week. Little Kyler Murray. Who knows? B-Flo may shut him down. Hell, Kyler Murray may go for 450. Who knows? They were struggling a little bit today. But who knows what Arizona Cardinals team is going to show up? Who knows what Minnesota Vikings team is going to show up? I don't know. But the one thing you can bet on is that it's probably going to be a close game. The Minnesota Vikings under KLC really don't have a history of getting blown out too much, but they also don't have a history of blowing anybody else out. So odds are it's going to be a one possession or a close game. There's going to be a penalty, an interception, a fumble, or something that's going to keep the Arizona Cardinals in it. The Arizona Cardinals are going to be faced with a staunch defense in B-Flo that's going to keep the Vikings in the game. That's just kind of the formula for the Minnesota Vikings. But I will take the 9-2 win. UP Nation, Skull Nation, what do you think, man? Am I off my rocker? Come at me if I'm off my rocker. But this is a crazy season. This is a therapy session for us. I want a lot of dialogue in the comments because maybe I'm just looking at this from the wrong perspective. But I know for the majority of Sundays, I walk away even with wins. I just walk away a little bit frustrated and a little bit disappointed. And I don't want to hear, this is the NFL, from week to week, there's parity. From week to week, anybody can beat anybody. Man, at some point in time, though, it comes together for everybody. Even the Cleveland Browns, for God's sake. It comes together for them. I just want it to all come together for the Minnesota Vikings just once. Just once, UP Nation. Put it all together. Staunch defense, offense rolling up and down the field. You can't say that we don't have the weapons and the personnel or the coaching. What's stopping that stuff from happening? Man, this has been Unconventional Playbook. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Help keep the station rolling, man. I just wanted to provide a place to have a little bit of group therapy for UP Nation and the Minnesota Viking fans out there, man, because this season is crazy. Do you know what to expect next week? Put that in the comments. What's your prediction for next week's games? Like, what is that going to look like for the Minnesota Vikings next week? Do you have a thought? Do you know for sure what you hanging your hat on with the Minnesota Vikings next week? Oh man, it's a fun season. I can honestly tell you, this is not where I thought we would be, but I'm happy that we're here. And each game that we keep winning gets us closer to solidifying a playoff berth. And then who knows? Maybe everything will start to come together then, UP Nation. But please hit that like and subscribe button. We will make sure to see you when we see you. Latre, take us home, man.
I don't know who I am. Can I say I'm a man? Am I losing my mind? Am I wasting my time? Do I know who I am?